Hey guys, it's Hallie Anne. Welcome back to my channel. I know I've been absent for a decent amount of time. Actually, I was very ill the past week and a half. I caught a cold. If you guys watched my random vlog, I was talking about how I was picking up all the emergency because everyone was getting sick, and I was like, I'm not getting sick. And then I got sick. So that's where I've been. But I apologize for not having a video up last week. That is why. Today would be a perfect day to start a very exciting video. I'm super pumped up about this video. We are going to be diving into the Tartelette Toasted palette. This is another palette that I think has been highly anticipated. I say that about a lot of the palettes that I talk about on my channel, but really, this one I was extremely excited about because, of course, another warm palette. I'm a pretty big fan of the Tarte eyeshadows, Tartelette and Bloom. Love that palette, have that palette. So when I saw that they were coming out with this one, I was like, yes, I know that I need it. So if you guys are curious to see a little bit more inside, see me create a look that I have here, my initial thoughts, review, etc. on the Tartelette Toasted palette, make sure you guys stick around, subscribe before you leave, and then let's just get right into the review. All right, guys, Tartelette Toasted. Who's excited? I know I am. This is what the Tartelette Toasted palette looks like. I'm obsessed with this packaging. It looks so good. I primed my eyes, I set it with a powder, and now I put some tape on just because I'm into the whole tape thing. I'm gonna take a fluffy brush. I think I'm just gonna put this very lightest shade in the corner here. S'more. Okay, it's definitely powdery, but very pigmented. As the transition shade, I'm going to go in with Cashmere. It's the second shade right here. It's kind of an orangey tone. It picks up a lot of product. It seems really pigmented for not having to use a lot. I feel like I need to zoom in more. Sorry guys, it's been a while. So I only dipped in one time on both of these, and it's seemingly very pigmented. As you can see, there is a little bit of powder happening, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's really no different than my Tartelette and Bloom palette. That thing kicks up powder as well, so I'm kind of confused as to where people are getting off on that. I'm gonna go ahead and take Latte, this slightly darker, more neutral brown shade here. That one does not have as much kickback at all. Cashmere does have a lot, so like literally I did the same thing and there's like none. I'm gonna put that in my crease as well, right on top of Cashmere. Everything is blending really nicely though, and it's really easy to use. I don't see a lot of fallout on my eye. Like there is a little bit of powder from certain shades in here, but as far as on my face, I don't have a lot of fallout, so I probably could have even done this having done my foundation already. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a more precise brush and go in with the shade Cozy out here. See, that one doesn't have that much powder at all, and it's very pigmented. Really pretty, super easy to blend. I really like this so far. I'm really curious about this whole crackle color. It's like a matte with some glitter flecks in it. I wanna see if I can put that in the outer, just kind of in that outer part right there on top of the Cozy color. Ooh, that one is pretty powdery. That one is super pigmented and super powdery, but no, everything, honestly, that kind of just like blended away. No, it didn't. It did deepen it up. I don't really see the glitter things. I'm sure if I packed it on, I would be able to see those glitter flecks. So I feel like this is a palette that if you accidentally get a little bit heavy-handed with in the colors, because I could definitely see how it's easy to pick up a little bit too much pigment, it blends out super easily. On the lid, I want to pack on this Sunset shade right here at the very top. And then on the very inner corner, I'm gonna take Candle. This one's pretty flaky though. I can feel it falling out on my face. This is what the palette looks like after using it. As you can see, there's a little bit of powder there, powder here, powder here. This shade right here is not very powdery. This shade's not very powdery. Sunset wasn't really that powdery either, but Candle was. Loving these shades though. Super easy to work with. That blended so well. Like, I'm really impressed actually. I'm going to finish up the rest of my face, collect my thoughts, and we'll chat a little bit more. This palette is a palette for me. I'm extremely happy with the way that this palette performed. I love this palette. I really do. I think that this is a very consumer friendly palette. Beginners can use it, experts can use it. All the colors that I used today, which I didn't just use like one color, everything blended super easily. These are very pigmented shades, so even when I put it on the eye and I thought it was a little bit too much, it very, very easily blended out. Nothing was weird and choppy and chunky, and this thing just smells so good. It smells like vanilla. It smells exactly the same as my Tartelette in Bloom palette. As far as everybody freaking out about fallout, I mean, I don't understand what everyone's big, humongous concern is. In order to get a pigmented shadow, I feel like it kind of has to have a little bit more fallout, and you don't have to go in like killing the thing. Some of the shades in here, yes, were a lot more powdery in consistency than others. I know I didn't use every single shade in here, but I tried to use as many as I could in a look. A lot of people were comparing this palette to the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. Some people think that this palette resembles this palette, but I don't find that there are a lot of similarities between the two. This one's a lot more red hued. This one is very neutral to warm, but not red at all. I mean, the cozy and the fireside, I mean, that fireside color really does kind of remind me of ashes. I can see how people think that they are similar, but I don't think that they are similar at all. I honestly don't really like this palette. I love the Tartelette Toasted palette. And as far as comparing the Tartelette in Bloom versus the Tartelette Toasted palette, they're in the exact same component. Obviously just different color scheme going on. And for the people who are kind of like touting about the fallout in this palette, let me just show you something in the Tartelette in Bloom palette real quick, because I'm just a little bit confused. So say I'm going in with some Barney pants. Do you see this right here? There's powder everywhere. It's the exact same thing. Like, I've like never once complained about like having a powdery shadow, but it's honestly basically almost the exact same formulation in my opinion. They are both beautiful palettes, and yes, they have fallout. They are powdery shadows. I mean, I don't understand where people are getting off on the fact that the Tartelette Toasted palette is so much different than the Tartelette in Bloom palette or the other Tartelette palette. So many of these really great eyeshadow palettes do have fallout. That's how you're gonna get pigment. So that's just my thoughts about it. I'm kind of sick and tired of people being like, oh my gosh, it's subculture ×2. It's absolutely not subculture ×2. Not that I even have subculture. I was never gonna buy that palette in the first place because those colors are not for me. But give me a break, people. Like, just calm down on the whole fallout scene. You act like you've never seen fallout in your life. I'm not trying to bring anybody down, but I was just like flabbergasted by how much negative comments were being made in videos of like, oh my gosh, it's so powdery. There's so much fallout in this palette. I'm just like, hello, let me show you Modern Renaissance right now. This is probably even worse. Let's just have a look-see here. Like, there is powder everywhere. They are powdery, but that doesn't mean that I love that palette. Go in the Morphe palettes. They also have a little bit of powder kickback. The Morphe Jaclyn Hill newest palette, powder kickback. I mean, I don't know what the world is wanting. So that's my 2 cents on that whole topic. Anyways, I love this palette. I think it is absolutely worth the money. It is $46. It is now in Sephora and Ulta. It's a very easy to use, user-friendly, consumer-friendly palette, and I'm obsessed with it. I think Tarte did an excellent job with this palette. I will be reaching for this incredibly often. I can just tell you that right now. I'm gonna stop ranting, rambling, whatever. Anyways, it's always in good fun, you guys, you know that. I just kind of wanted to get my 2 cents out there about the topic, the palettes, etc. And I was just so excited to finally get my hands on the Tartelette Toasted palette. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you learned something, hope you found it interesting, and I will be sure to talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.